Che, Ma'at Hotep. This is The Truth May Hurt. My name is Raymond Witcher, and I am your host. I would like to say grand rising to everyone, and welcome back, especially to The Truth May Hurt. I'm going to do a video on that I'm titling The Truth May Hurt, but it's not terminal. Okay? The truth can be and usually is very shocking. I want to show you this before I go any further. I encourage everyone to get you a badge holder and put your driver's license and all of those things right here. And I'm saying this is because you can put this right around your neck. So if you're stopped by a police officer, you don't have to reach for anything. Everything is right here. Okay, and you can just pull it right out, and he can see your hands at all times. And you can present it without an officer saying, I feared for my life. Yes, officer, I have my driver's license. It's right here. I don't have to reach in my pockets. And this is not, nothing that I share on this channel is based on racism or racist that I participate in. I don't participate in any forms of racism. I am not a part of a human race. I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I'm bringing it into the context that I need you to keep everything in when I present things to you so that you don't misconstrue what I'm saying in a racist context against whites, against Asians, against Latinos, against anybody. I don't promote it. I don't participate in it. I try to expose it. So that being said, I have shown you in previous videos what the definition of race is. Race is a competition designed in categories like dog race, horse race, baby race, car races, those kind of things. Even in sports, it's a race to the playoffs. It's a competition. What is the definition of human? Humans are beings created by God that's supposed to have high intelligence. The thing that separates us, that should separate us from every other thing that God created is our intelligence, our intellect, our ability to be rational thinkers, not irrational, but rational. So when the human race was created, when you put human and race together, what do you have? You have a competition that was designed and established based on our skin color and our skin tone. So I'm trying to bring awareness along with education in a way that if you would just slow down a little bit and take your passions, your feelings, and emotions out of it, I think you can get the point that I'm trying to show you. Okay? So from the human race, there came words like racism. What is racism? There came a word such as racist, supremacy, white supremacy. All of these things came out of the birth of the human race. So what is racism and what is a racist? They are protectors of the human race, which was designed, the truth may hurt, but it's not terminal, which was designed by the Europeans, the white Europeans and the white first settlers when they were going around colonizing the world. And I can show you evidence. Okay, so we're talking about 500 years of European colonialism. In order to do this, they needed to put a system in place because the European race is actually the smallest out of all of these races of people that have been identified on Earth in a race classification. So when they were going around doing all of their what they call explorations, it says, all right, here is the animated world map of 500 years of European colonialism. A major event and characteristics. You have to excuse me, my eyes are so dry. I have chronic dry, and it's hard for me to see some of this stuff. And if I put the treatment in there, it'll be an hour or so before I'll be able to really see good again. So I'm going to do the best I can. 500 years of European colonialism. Exploration and early colonialism is between the 15th and the 17th centuries. The age of exploration began in the 15th century with Christopher Columbus' voyage to America. Okay, so colonialism is when actually the King James Bible and everything started coming out. Now, if you notice, the King James Bible came out in 1611. 8 short years later, a big event happened. Blacks and Africans were made slaves for life. Only 8 years after King James Bible came out in 1611, 1619, King James and the Catholic Church made black slaves for life, made African slaves for life, because they were doing this exploration. They were doing all of these voyages. And they needed, when they found America, when Christopher Columbus, I did a video on this, he actually was looking for a shorter route to India. He didn't know he had found a whole another continent. So when he arrived, if you go to the Library of Congress and look up Christopher Columbus, his son Diego, and he had another son named Fernando Columbus, and another man named Hernando de Soto. They were all explorers, and they all had their own ships. And the most important part of their voyage was their diaries, because they had to keep daily diaries of everything they saw, who they saw, what they saw. And they had to give these diaries back to the kings and queens when they came back as records of what they found. So when they they first stumbled up on the Bahamas, then they found America. Their diaries say that the first people they saw when they reached the Americas were black, like seen in Africa. They didn't bring us here. We were already here. That's why they had to establish this race-based society and culture, because they realized after going around on all of their explorations, they were like, wait, it's more people of color and Africans than it is of whites. And if we don't structure a society that protects us, they'll make us their slaves. It was never our ambition to make anybody slaves. So they had to make this race-based society and race-based games, and they had to put things in place to protect it. The number one job of the Supreme Court is to protect white supremacy. The truth may hurt, but it's not terminal. The other good thing about the truth, it will set you free. It will take you out of the bondage that they need us to be in to make this system work. But it's falling apart. That's what we're watching today, right here. And today is March the 7th, 2026. We're watching this symbol crumble because we are in the transition age between the astrology age of Pisces into Aquarius. We are coming out of the age of the believers into the age of the thinkers. The same things that worked in Pisces won't work in Aquarius. The things that worked in Aries didn't work in Pisces. And we're in that transition. And the race status has to be protected. The human race game. I don't even identify myself in the human race anymore because I'm not on a competition. The color of my skin does not matter in the reality of what I live in. I don't look at people's skin tone or race identification and let it matter and who they are or what they are or those kind of things. So nothing that I'm saying is applicable to all whites. It's not applicable to all blacks. It's not applicable to all Latinos, because through this social engineering, this system has developed copycats of themselves that are now greedy, and greed can never be satisfied. I don't want to stick too long on this, but I can't really find the map that I want to show you, but there's a map that shows that everywhere on earth was colonized except Japan, Korea, and Thailand. It might be one other place, but I couldn't find the map. How did they do this? They did it because when they found new places, they sent in the missionaries with their Bibles and teaching everybody that you need to be saved and that you don't have morals, and introduced them to their God. Then the armies came in and they were captured and colonized. Watch, let me show you. Okay, so they were setting everything up back in the 13th, all the way, everything was being set up from 500 AD when they started doing their inquisitions, where they went around earth for 1,000 years, killing everybody that didn't accept Jesus Christ as their Savior and their God. It was being forced on the world through the European inquisitions throughout Europe. Then it evolved into the colonization of the world by this one little group of people, the Catholic Church. Okay, the biggest gang that's ever lived. The Roman Empire did not fall. The Roman Empire evolved into the Catholic Church. Biggest crooks on earth. Okay, so they wrote in 1493. You remember, Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492, right? So when he came back to Portuguese in Spain and reported what he had found, this new land, what do they call it? The land of milk and honey. They had all of these things, and it's so vast. And it's just these African people there that are so nice. They reported in their diaries that the Africans that they met in the Americas were so nice that they never even had to ask for anything, because once the African people knew that they needed, we gave it to them. It's in their diaries. Listen, don't believe me. I'm not asking anybody to believe me. I'm telling everybody and asking everybody, don't believe anything I say. Get out of the believing business. None of us should have ever been believing anyway. We were converted and convinced to be believers. No, don't believe me. Go and look up what I'm showing you, then you'll know. Now, if you don't go and look up what I'm showing you, then you'll just be believing me. You will have stopped at what I say. I'm not creating a religion. I'm trying to show you how to decipher what happened and how this thing has functioned so well that it develops hate within us just based on the color of our skin or the accent that we may have when we speak. Everything during this time was about converting you and converting us away from our nature, our natural cultures, and converting us into being white. And go back and look at my video, a comprehensive look at Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 through 9, and it'll show you exactly what I'm saying. So when Columbus came back and they read all of these things and this land has all of these nice people, they say, well, listen, it'll be easy for us to take this and convert them into our ways, our society. So they wrote the Doctrine of Discovery a year later in 1493. Okay, the doctrine was used to justify European claims to land inhabited by indigenous people, us, black people. It was rooted in the belief that Christian nations had the right to claim non-Christian land. The doctrine of discovery. The doctrine influenced colonial policies. This is when colonialism was being forced around the world. The doctrine influenced colonial policies and legal frameworks in the America and beyond. So they wrote this to take America first. Then they spread it all around the world. They said, man, we're going to take everything because the doctrine of discovery says we have the right to take it because we're Christians and they're not. We're God's chosen people and they are not. They can never be us. Okay? So its implications are still felt today in discussions about indigenous rights and sovereignty. The Pope just apologized, I think it was in 2020 or 2021, for the damages that the doctrine of discovery did to the indigenous people by stealing their land. All of this was done through Christianity that was created by King James. Well, this was created before King James, but King James, he is the one that brought in the Africans will be slaves for life because they needed, when they found out in 1600s, found out how vast this land was, they said, we need a permanent workforce. We don't need it because up until this time, they had indentured servants for 5 to 7 years, then you go free. And they were like, no, man, we need a permanent workforce in America. And the indigenous people here are African. We're going to bring Africans from Africa because they had been sailing around Africa for hundreds of years and mixing with the African people. So they were immune to the European diseases. So they were easy to bring here to America and they would live. Long story, I'm not trying to make this too long. So they wrote all of these doctrines and all of these things to set up the human race competition that was designed that whites are always going to be on top and blacks are always going to be on the bottom. So we are in a system that was never designed for us to prosper. We've done a great job in prospering, but we are just escapes. It's just like a prisoner in jail and he escapes, he's an escapee. So don't think that we've been functioning in a system that has a level playing field for us to be able to excel and compete, because we haven't. We have been able to break out of that. Some of us have been able to break out of that and become things that we were never supposed to be able to become in this system. Okay, so let's move on. Like Stevie Wonder says, I did a video on, it's very superstitious. Go back and watch that video. But when you believe in things that you don't understand, you're going to suffer because superstition is not the way. Okay? Now, why are there 12 gates into heaven? And on each of these gates is the name of one of the 12 tribes of Israel, meaning that this heaven, this mythical heaven that they are describing in the Bible is not for everyone. It's only for the lost tribes of Israel. Okay? Comprehensively is the way that we go about looking at the Bible. Hearing the truth may hurt, because the truth may hurt, but the truth is never terminal. You may cry, you may, be crushed, but you will be okay. Because once you have the truth, you are no longer in that bondage of the lie. Okay? So the question is, why does heaven need 12 gates? Why does heaven need a gate at all? The Bible is written specifically in ways of humans. Like, you need a door to your house. That's because humans come through the house, but spirits don't have bodies. So what is a gate going to do to keep a spirit out? Doesn't make sense. Okay, but now you understand that, to understand the concept of the 12 gates to heaven, consider these things. All right. Revelations 21:12 describes the gates as having the names of the 12 tribes of Israel. Like I said, it's not for everyone. Revelations 21:13, each gate corresponds to one of the 12 tribes, symbolizing inclusivity. Inclusivity. Verse 14, the wall of the city has 12 foundations representing the apostles. You remember I told you the Bible is based on astrology, cosmology, and numerology. Is a lot of 12s. So you're seeing the 12 gates of heaven, the 12 tribes of the apostles, the 12 apostles. Verse 21, the gates are made of pearl, emphasizing their beauty and value. What does value have to do in the spiritual world? There is nothing. They're doing this to enhance our minds. You have to remember, religions depend on putting its believers into a psychosis. The definition of psychosis is when it is a severe mental disorder where the person's mind is no longer in reality in the real world or external world. You are not in a reality anymore. That's what religion does. So now they're giving you a book that's telling you when you die and you go in the spiritual world, you're going to have gates you're going to have gates in heaven. You're going to have the gates are going to be made out of pearl, emphasizing their beauty and value. I thought it wasn't supposed to be any value in the spiritual world. I thought we was all supposed to be equal. But now you have values in the spiritual world of beauty and values of wealth, or how much something costs. It's mixing this stuff in because once a religion can put their theology, philosophies in your head and you believe it, now they control your behavior and they can predict that you're going to do what they want you to do. All right. Verse 25, the gates will never be shut, symbolizing eternal access to heaven. Well, if they're never going to be shut, why you put them up? Doesn't make sense. Matthew 7, verses 13 and 14 contrasts the narrow gate leading to life with the wide gate leading to destruction. Okay. So it's just interesting how they write these things in the context that will relate to the human mind, that this is what you're going to get. You're going to get some more human stuff on the other side. Acts 14:22 encourages the believer to enter the kingdom through many tribulations, Hebrews 11:10 speaks of a city with foundations whose architect and builder is God, linking to the heavenly gates. Okay, so you got mansions in heaven, you got streets paved with gold. None of these things matter after death, is my point. Okay, but they have to create these things to make you desire things that you want here that you can't have. But if you do what Jesus says, or you do what Allah says, or you do what Yahweh says, you're going to get these things in heaven. Okay? It never happened. This is mythology. Now, if they were teaching it right, you wouldn't have people messed up. But then you would be free. Now, keep in mind, the World Trade Center, before it was attacked and crumbled, I forgot which tower, but they had a display floor that they showed how each financial economy evolved. So it showed how the first economy was set up on fair trade. You bring me a sack of corn, and I'll give you a bag of flour. Then the gold rush came, and you would bring me a gold nugget. I would weigh it. That would give you a value of credit to buy in the store. Then the third was, we're going to make gold coins and bills with a value on it. And instead of you bringing me the gold, you just bring me the coins and the bill. That's when money was established. So that's the third. The fourth is when they refine the coins and the money and they establish credit. And these are displays that you could walk around and see. But if you looked up on the walls, it was engraved on the walls that there would be 5 major changes in our government economy of buying and selling. And the fifth change will be a far more innovative system that has ever been seen by man, called the cashless society. Same thing that's said in Revelations, I think it's 13. We're going to look at it. My point is that's where we are. And it's the religions, Bibles, Qurans, Torahs, Talmuds, all of these books were written to control slaves. And I've mentioned, well, we're at that progression in the world now that they don't need slaves. So what's going to happen to the people? They're already into the depopulation phases of the world. They're putting things in your food to make you not fertile. They're putting GMO stuff in your food to alter your DNA. They're putting things in your vaccines. They're doing everything they can to make you infertile. The reason marijuana is legal now is because it's GMO. And it is literally turning males to have female characteristics and females to have masculine characteristics. They're trying to gayize the whole population because gays don't produce. Have to be careful because you have to know what their goal is, not what your goal is. So on these walls, it's saying that the fifth change will be a far more innovative system that has ever been seen by man, called the cashless society. The reason and the way that criminals and drug dealers and cartels have been able to get away is because cash. They function in a cash society. Well, now they have total control because I don't care how much digital credit you have in your bank. If you do something and you want to run, they just shut off your digital money where you can't transfer money from your account to another. You can't transfer your money to pay for an airplane ticket. You can't get a hotel room. You can't buy a car. You have been shut down. You will be obedient and you will comply to what we say in this new age, in this new world order. Now, when you watch what the United States is doing in the Middle East and all that region, it is trying to establish this new world order. It is trying to hold on to this human race game, this human race scam. When you listen to what's his name, Stephen Miller in President Trump's cabinet, when you listen to how he talks, that we are going to take this and we're going to do that, and then you listen to Hegseth. All of these guys are arrogant, and they are not hiding their racism, their white supremacists. That we're going to put blacks back on the bottom. Okay, they ended DEI because they didn't want to help black people. Do you know how many they hurt more white people than they did blacks when they did that? And most of the whites that they hurt were people that voted for him. Look it up. Welfare and SNAP program. Do you realize that there are more white people on SNAP and that need assistance, and the welfare program that need assistance, that were on Obamacare that needed health care, than blacks? But in order to take it away from blacks, they didn't have one problem taking it away from you. This is your party. Okay, it's not representing you. It only wanted your vote. Okay, and the only thing that they leave you with is the mentality that they gave you, that they put in your head, that makes you believe, well, at least I'm better than a nigga. At least I'm better than black people. Well, if that's all you have, and you don't have money in the bank, you need to change. They don't care about you. It never was about you. It was about your vote. Okay? And now that I've shown you that through the Eve gene, you black too. They scammed you. So no, you're not better than black people. You one of us. Homeboy, brother. Okay? This is not a comedy show, but I have to laugh at this stuff because it had me confused. I didn't know who I was, but you didn't know who you were either. Okay? So heaven doesn't need gates. This is part of the brainwashing and influential things that they give us that relate to the human things that we see that we want. So when we read the Bible, we have to remember, okay, we read this Bible and we've been trained to believe that it is the inspired word of God and that God only spoke to this very small selected group of people. And I've shown you that if God had influenced anything in this Bible, it wouldn't have all of these mistakes. It wouldn't have all of these contradictions, controversies, and just go against what everybody says, For an example, okay, when I say God would not have inspired these men to contradict each other or go against what each other say, those kind of things. Now, the book of Mark was actually the first gospel. It wasn't the book of Matthew. It is amazing how all of these four gospels that are supposed to be independently written all start off the same way. The gospel according to Mark, the gospel according to Luke, the gospel according to John, the gospel according to Matthew. Same, and all of them were different independent authors, and they all start off the same way. Okay, but the first gospel is the Gospel of Mark. And the Gospel of Mark doesn't even talk about the birth of Jesus. It starts with his ministry, right? Matthew provides detailed account of Jesus' genealogy and the visit of the Magi. Now, wait, where Jesus get a genealogy from, other than on his mother's side of Mary? Because Joseph was not his father. And the genealogy that the Bible gives you is all the genealogy on the father's side, who they're saying is Joseph. I did a video on this, it's not that far back. Okay, so when they're talking about Matthew provides detailed account of Jesus' genealogy, how? Mary's the mother, and they don't talk about his genealogy on Mary's side, and the Holy Ghost is supposed to be his father. John also admits the birth story, focusing instead on the theological significance of Jesus' existence. The Gospel of Thomas and the apocryphal texts that include childhood stories, but is not considered canonical. Now, wait. The removed Gospels. Is it the 12 removed Gospels? I can't remember the title of it. Hold on. But if you look up the lost Gospels, you can read all about. See, because the Gospels in the Bible give a fairy tale of Jesus from birth to 12, and then nothing from 12 to 30. He picks up from 30 to 33, his death. But in the lost Gospels, which I've read, they tell the whole story of his life in between 12 and 30. He went to study in Egypt, a lot of things. Okay, so we can't just take this Bible and say that, oh well, everything that you need to know is in this four Gospels, and they don't agree with each other, and then put on top of that, listen, people know more about what Paul says in his epistles than what Jesus Christ says. And Paul goes against what Jesus Christ says. Paul only had a vision on his way to Damascus. And when you read Paul's, I did a video on this, when you read Paul's account, Paul doesn't even agree with himself, because at first he says only he saw the light and heard the voice. Then he goes down in another place, he says he and the people with him saw the light and passed out on the ground, fell on the ground. He's contradicting himself. So Mark, Luke, John, and Matthew, they contradict each other when it comes to the accounts of them going to the tomb the day after crucifixion. They contradict each other, but Paul contradicts himself. Okay, and you can go back and read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, starting at verse 1. But it's telling you that God is going to send strong and powerful delusions that you will believe the lie. You got to remember, it was God that had his angels go lie and do a lot of wicked stuff, man. Okay, and everybody says, everything God does is good. Well, if God is always good all the time, let me finish this. So the delusions were sent by God. And when Lucifer was cast out of heaven unto the earth to deceive the world, what do you think he's been doing here, doing? Now, this is mythology, because what they have actually done is the wicked people of this world that have been on this earth, that have been causing all of these problems, they wrote a book. They really wrote the first Hollywood production in writing, which is the Bible, the Quran, and the Torah. because it's a show. It's a fairy tale. It's giving you something to believe in before they had film to record stuff and give you something to look at to believe in. Okay. So everything they wrote this Bible. So when people say, well, how would anybody know that? And it's coming true just like God said, it's coming true just like these devils said. You got to remember, they wrote this book. You giving all of the credit and saying God wrote it, they're telling you that the God in this book is the evil one. They have us saying and believing that he's good, that I ain't got nothing without him. He's the one that put you in chains. He's the one that set up this race-based society system. He's the one that set up. Now listen, they have to have a dysfunctional society with the majority of people poor. And then there's a class under that where you don't even have a house to live in or a pot to pee in or one to throw it out of. Because when they have a society like that and they can sustain these people to be only and never be able to come up out of that environment, people enlist in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, and the Marines, and they go to war for you and they die for you. Not because they really, really just want to serve, but because they want to eat and a warm bed to sleep in. And to be able to say that I served or I had a future when there is no other future. When you can put people in a situation where the only option I have left is to enlist in the services or go out here and commit a crime, that's what they have created. Okay, there's no way in the world. And greed is the cause of it, because greed can't be satisfied. It just can't. Okay, so when you go to Revelations 13, okay, they're talking about the beast out of the sea, the dragon. Okay, here we are again in fairy tale land. How many people believe in dragons? Okay, because you're supposed to be able to take the Bible's word for word, and it be historical. Okay, so now we in Revelations, the Bible started off with talking snakes. Now we have the dragon stood on the shore of the sea. And I saw a beast come out of the sea. So now you have a dragon and a beast coming out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads with 10 crowns on its horns, and on each head a blasphemous name. Now wait, we look at things and we do them comprehensively here on The Truth May Hurt. But the good thing about it is the truth is not terminal. Okay, so I don't believe in dragons. So what is the dragon? The dragon is the wicked, the that 1% of the people that rule, run, and are destroying the world. Stood on the shores of the sea, and I saw a beast come out of the sea, having 7 horns and 7 heads. So let's look at this comprehensively, okay? Because it's damn sure not historical, okay? What is the beast? Okay, first of all, let's look at it different. What comes out of the sea? I stood on the sand. I stood on the shore of the sea and saw a beast come out of the sea. It had 10 horns and 7 heads. What comes out of the sea in the ocean that has 7 heads? 7 continents. Okay. There are 7 commonly recognized continents: Africa, Antarctica, Asia, Australia, Europe, North America, South America. Okay. So we're putting this right where it should be, where we can understand it. And we don't need somebody telling us what somebody told them. That you have to throw away all logic and common sense. The people that wrote this book knew what they're doing. They're getting ready to establish the 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 the, the ones that want to control the whole world, the ones that have created an economy that you're going to be in a cashless society. That if you don't do what we say, I don't care how much money you have, we're not going to let you spend it. Ask Kanye West when they locked him down, and he's a billionaire, and he couldn't get no money out, or very minimum money could he get out, because they say, hey, you go against us, you're going to lose. Okay, so when he stood on the sands of the shore of the sea and he saw a beast come out of the sea that had 10 horns and 7 heads, the 7 heads are the 7 continents. The beast is the governments. And I saw a beast. It didn't say, it's not saying I saw a lot of beasts or I saw several beasts. It said I saw a beast. He's saying I saw one government that's going to overrule and take charge of all 7 heads with 10 crowns that came out of the sea. And each had the name of, each head a blasphemous name. The beast saw the resemblance to a leopard, but had the feet of those like a bear and the mouth of a lion. Yeah, I have a few seconds I needed to come back and edit this in because as I reviewed it, I noticed that I have to add this in. Okay, so when we're talking about the beast, I saw resembled a leopard. Okay, stealthy. He's going to sneak up on you, but I left out. But had the feet like those of a bear and a mouth like a lion. Now here's a beast that has the body of a leopard, the feet of a bear, and the mouth of a lion. So a leopard is going to stalk you. When a bear stands up and he has the feet of a bear and he goes roar, and you hear a lion out in the jungle and he opens his mouth and he roars, what are you going to do? You're going to go the other way. That's why it says, who can make war with the beast and win? No one. Okay, so this is a metaphor. It's not historical, but it's describing what's happening right now. And the mouth like of a lion, which version is international, okay? And the dragon gave the beast power. So the dragon, this small group of elites, aristocrats, they're the ones that's giving power to the government and his throne and great authority. One of the heads of the beast, wait a minute, let's go back. Okay, so it's describing this beast they resemble a leopard, had the feet of those like a bear, and the mouth of a lion. Now imagine this. This government is going to be so powerful that it resembles a leopard. What does a leopard do? It stalks you. It's not like a lion. Well, most of those cat animals, but a lion, it doesn't have this. I mean, the leopard doesn't have this, the brutal strength of a lion. So it has to stalk you. It has to hide. It has to get so close to you that when you pounce, in a second or two, he's on you and he has you. So here's the beast that is going to be over all of these 7 continents. And that's what you're seeing there with Donald Trump. He says, I want to make Canada part of the United States of America. We're going to take Greenland. We're going to invade Australia. And then we're over here in the Middle East. We're going to convert them. And then we're going to Cuba. You're reading it. All right. One of the heads of the beast seemed to have had a fatal wound, but the fatal wound had healed. Looked like Donald Trump. I'm not trying to be a comedy club, but man, he got wounds everywhere. Okay. I saw a patch up on his neck. It's purple. The whole world was filled with wonder and followed the beast. You're not going to have a trust. People worship the beast because he had given authority to the beast. And they also worship the beast and ask, who is like the beast? Who can wage war against it? Who can fight this beast? And isn't that what Donald Trump is telling everybody? We're the best, we're the greatest, we have the strongest army. Listen, they sunk an Iranian military ship that had been invited to India for a program. They had invited the United States too. And the United States, after the Iranian ship had gotten into India, the United States ship backed out and said, no, we don't want to join. We're at war. When the Iranian ship came out, they sunk it. This ship didn't have any munitions on it. It didn't have any defense weapons on it, and they knew it. Not only did they sink it, but the survivors that were in the water, they left them out there to drown. That's what it's telling you. Who is like this beast? Who is this doing the kind of stuff that Israel and the United States has been doing forever? You can wage war against it and win. So I'm showing you this. You can come back and read it all. I'm putting it in the context, and I'm giving you another way to read it. I'm giving you another way to look at it so that you're not thinking that this is historical. This is telling a fairy tale story of what they're going to do in a way that when it happens, you're going to give credit to God. Well, the devil is a god too. You just have to be careful and not deceived like you have been all of your life. Come back and read this, but I'm just trying to touch on a few things. All right. Hope you understand there's a dragon stood on the shore. A dragon stood on the shore of the sea, and he saw a beast come out of the sea with 7 heads. You tell me now, keep it in context and make it happen. What else comes out of the sea with 7 heads other than the 7 continents? See, because it says, I'll show you. See, when you read the King James, that's why you have to read different versions. I read the NIV for easier reading, but everybody considers the King James version of the Bible the most accredited, most reviewed, and undisputable Bible. So when you go to the King James, it says, I stood upon the sands of the sea, and I saw a beast rise up out of the sea. Rise means to stay. It doesn't, see, I think the other one said jump or whatever. But when you say rise, smoke rises. Smoke never comes down. Okay? When a child rises from 4 feet to 5 feet, the child doesn't go back down to 4 feet. It has risen to be 5 feet. So to rise means to stay. So it's talking about a government that's going to rise up out of the sea, that's going to control the 7 continents in a way that all of them are going to say, well, who? So a beast, it says, who can make war with the beast? And who is able to make war with him? Verse 4, they worship the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And Donald Trump is standing up telling everybody, y'all can't beat us. He's wrong. This is the foundation of the fall that is going to have to happen. And I've told you that this won't be the first time, and I've shown you when I showed you the Eve gene, they could only trace the Eve gene back 200,000 years, not making her the first woman that God created. It was just the last woman that the human species could be traced back to, because something happened 200,000 years ago, almost destroyed life on this planet. It wiped out everything on Earth, except it was either 1,400 or 14,000 people over the whole Earth. And through that, the world was repopulated, and it's getting ready to happen again. But it's not going to happen because God came down here out of the sky and destroyed the earth and raptured up those righteous. The rapture wasn't added to the Bible until 1830. Look it up, by a man named John Darby. Okay, So, yeah, what we're watching right now, because these people, the false Jews that are in Israel, the people that are standing up now in the Trump administration that are making it perfectly clear that we don't respect anybody. Listen, after they bombed Iran, they made cartoons and they had images of basketball games that they mixed in when they bombed people and they put it on X. You don't think the Iranians are seeing this? You don't think that this is mocking the Iranian people and everybody over in the Middle East, all of these Arab nations? Okay, so they're doing everything to antagonize. They're doing everything that they're willing to stand on the false belief that they have the strongest that America, we have the strongest military, and we don't. China does. Russia does. Okay, they have the super. I mean, come on, man. And to continue to believe that we have a savior. So to believe that we're going to have this God come down from the sky. Okay, it's just like you believe a dragon. Okay, that your snake can talk and a donkey can talk. Now you're going to believe that God is just going to crack the sky and he's just going to come and save the righteous and all of these things. Okay, is just believing in a fairy tale. You know, I got to finish this up with my little dog here that's going to be whining, but I only have a couple of minutes. I'm going to close this out. But so if you hear it in the background whining, that's what he's doing, but he can't have his way right now. So we can't leave this earth, leaving our children, grandchildren, and the descendants from us, encouraging them to believe. That has to stop because, man, the generations that are coming after this, you're in trouble because you're in that transition age and it's not going to get better for the people. Okay. And, you know, everything starts over. Nothing just keeps going. Everything has a cycle. And I've shown you that every 25,920 years, that's the cycle of our universe because it's based on each astrology sign being 2,160 years long. So I'm gonna end this video here. Did I miss anything? Strong illusions. Okay, so I'm gonna say Ashe. Everybody have a great day. If you haven't told anybody you love them today, do it and say you mean it. So let me tell you that I love you and know that I mean it. Okay, I don't have anybody that I hate. I tell people I love everybody, and I'll have people tell me, Ray, that's crazy. You can't love everybody, Ray. And I said, loving everybody is the easiest thing you could ever do in life. It's easy, but you can't have love and hate in your heart at the same time. I don't like everybody. I don't like a lot of people, okay, but I don't hate them. Because when you can present things to people in a way that you can show them that they're wrong rather than trying to insult them about what they're doing that they may not know is wrong, you can help them change. But when you attack people and because of their color, because of where they might be in life right now, which may be the wrong place, but none of us have always been in the right place in our life. And all of us have had to overcome to become better at a lot of things. And if you could do it, and if I certainly did it, why would I discourage anybody else from having it? So please hit the like, subscribe, and share this on your social medias. And when you subscribe, hit the notification bell so when you see I have new material come out. All right? I hope you're getting some out of these, and I hope I'm showing you something in a way that is not offensive and that you can, if it just makes you say, wait a minute, dang, I never saw it that way. That's because nobody ever showed you. Okay? And it doesn't make the person that hasn't shown you a horrible person because they don't know. They're going around in that circle like the goat. When you start getting them going on a circle around a fire, they're going to keep going. Everybody have a great day.